Hi, everybody. Welcome to the She Can STEMpire podcast. This is a short series where I sit down with powerful women in science and leadership to share you the real stories behind their success. I am your host, Jenny, a scientist, STEM advocate, and delegate from Miss US International. And this series is part of my mission to advance the United Nations SDGs Goal 17 and build partnerships that empower women, amplify diverse voices, and create a lasting impact with science in our community. Today, I'm joined by Alanna from BiotechBeauty. She is a scientist, a CEO, and an entrepreneur who is transforming the beauty industry with her clinically tested, science-backed makeup products. Her patent-pending formulas are designed to improve skin health by supporting the microbiome while also being rooted in sustainability. Today, we'll be talking about her STEM journey, the inspiration behind BiotechBeauty, and her message to young women navigating their own STEM careers. So let's get into it.
Great. Hi, Jenny. Thanks so much for having me. I love your mission and am really thrilled to be here. So let's dive into a great conversation.
Can you share your journey into STEM and please include your background and your upbringing?
Yeah, so science has been a part of my world for as long as I can remember. Both of my parents are doctors, so conversations about medicine and healthcare and biology were very common growing up. And I initially thought I'd follow in their footsteps. I went to college and was pre-med and quickly realized that my curiosity and love for science lay more in understanding skin science and health rather than practicing medicine itself. So that shift led me to study human biology and biochemistry at UC Berkeley, where I worked in a bio lab under Professor Alan. And that was where I fell in love with the process of research and discovery. And after graduating, I started my career as a cosmetic chemist at Bioscience. So that role exposed me to the power of biotechnology, and I became fascinated by how science could power sustainable innovation in skincare and beauty.
When you wanted to go into medicine, did you know about research at the time, or were you also like me, where if you wanted to go into STEM, it was more for the medical field?
So at the time when I came to college, I didn't even know what research meant. I just knew that all of my classmates were doing it, and I was like, oh, I have to do this to be on par if I'm going to apply to med school. So I truly didn't even know what it meant when everyone was like, I'm joining a research lab or I got accepted to do research. I'm like, what are you guys researching? What's going on? So I didn't even know that it was an option. I think it was great because it was actually not related to practicing medicine or healthcare at all. And so it was kind of a whole different world separate from the pre-med classes that we were taking that could help me understand the process of research and discovery. And that's kind of what led me to understand that we can kind of put feelers out there and create things that are totally different than what exists right now. And so I think those planted the seeds for BiotechBeauty.
Did you go into a research lab when you were in like your third year, or was it earlier than that?
So I actually was very fortunate. I was accepted into a lab in my first year. I was just very
Awesome.
fortunate that one of my professors was so open and I think wanted to give everyone an opportunity. So although I think a lot of people go into research like years 3 and 4, I had the privilege of studying under a professor that was so eager to give us opportunities. So I inquired and I got that role, and that's kind of what sparked that early on in my college career.
After you joined, did you realize then you didn't want to go to medical school anymore?
It was closer to the end of my college path. I think end of my junior year is when I decided I didn't want to go to medical school anymore. So I knew that I loved science. I loved discovery. I loved learning about skin physiology, but I just couldn't see myself going into a hospital every day for the rest of my life or doing the more hands-on medicine that all my friends were on the path to do. So that's when I had a call with my dad, and the big thing for me was like, I don't want to disappoint you. Like, is this your dream for me? And he was very much supportive of whatever I want to do. He was like, I know you love science, but you also love makeup and you love beauty and you love the creative parts. Like, let's find you a path there. So I'm so grateful that that was a very pivotal moment for me, and my dad really supported me exploring this path that has become like all of my passion and work since then. So yeah, it's been a very exciting journey since then.
I remember when I was in undergrad, I also wanted to do cosmetic chemistry, but I guess once I started doing like actual biomedical research, I pivoted. But in my heart, I love makeup and I love what you're doing with Biotech Beauty. I also have really acne prone skin as well. So I think what we're doing or what you're doing is very aligned to what I've experienced growing up as well.
Yeah, even though you've studied more things related to like biomedical engineering, you can always take that experience and go into cosmetic chemistry if you're interested.
Yeah, maybe eventually in the future. I want to backtrack and ask what inspired you to pursue science and if there was a key moment where you realized you were meant to be in STEM.
Yeah. I don't think there was a single moment where it felt like super pivotal for me. I think it was a series of experiences that built on each other. Like I mentioned, science was a big part of my household growing up. When I was in middle school, I won the Texas State Science Fair, which kind of further encouraged me to keep exploring this field. And then later at Berkeley, working on experiments and seeing their potential to solve real world challenges kind of cemented my love for science and took it from just a kind of a theoretical thing to something where I'm like, I could create something that I use and other people use that would change lives. Like you, I struggled with really acne prone skin growing up, and I was so excited to find this idea of research powering the creation of products that genuinely support skin health.
So, in the STEM field, have you faced any challenges as a woman?
So I'm really grateful to say that I haven't faced a ton of challenges based on my gender throughout my journey in STEM. In both academia and in industry, I've been really fortunate to work alongside really supportive colleagues and mentors, both male and female, who encouraged my growth and believed in my capabilities. I think there are very few times in college courses or discussion sections when I felt like I was, kind of made to seem less serious about a subject or less capable about a subject because I was a girly girl and because I wore a ton of makeup and like cute outfits to class. But I think overall, I have been really fortunate to feel super supported in this area. So, what's truly inspired me was seeing role models in the beauty industry, particularly Asian American women, leading the charge in research and development for novel ingredients and creating new formulations. And so, their presence in the industry showed me what's possible and motivated me to follow a similar path. So, this series of experiences kind of cemented in my head why representation matters. And when you see someone who looks like you thriving in a space that you want to be in, it really opens up your sense of possibility and empowers you to aim higher.
Yes, I'm not gonna lie. When I was starting to think about this idea of a podcast, you were one of the first people I thought about reaching out to just
Oh
because
my
the
gosh.
Asian representation in research. Us being Vietnamese American women, being in STEM, I felt like we had so many similarities that it just made sense to reach out to you.
Yeah, oh, that's so sweet. And I'm so inspired by you as well. I think seeing people who look like you and come from similar backgrounds as you and reaching out to them either for inspiration or mentorship or camaraderie is so helpful. So I love that you have this community and you're creating a space so that other young women can see people who look like them and come from places like them doing the things that they aspire to do.
Yes, yes. Was there a specific moment or mentor that pushed you to keep going when things got difficult?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to my parents. It's always been both of my parents who kept me going during tough times. They are Vietnamese immigrants who worked incredibly hard to build a life here, and their perseverance really inspired me growing up. So they never sugarcoat how challenging things can be or the power of hard work, but they reminded me that if you dedicate yourself to something, the possibilities are endless. Their belief in me, even in the times where I doubted myself and I wasn't sure about career pivots or starting a company, it really meant the world to me and gave me the confidence to take the next step. So, knowing that they're rooting for me through every decision that I make gave me the strength to push through any setback and keep going.
Yeah, that's incredible to have like such an amazing support system. Can I
Yeah.
ask if your parents were already doctors in Vietnam or did they come to America and become doctors?
They came to America and became doctors. So they came when they were, I want to say like early teens. So they did high school and college and then medical school here.
Oh, and then did they meet in medical school?
They met, my dad was a resident at UCI, and I think my mom was in grad school at the time. So they were like slightly different ages. But yeah, they met here at UC Irvine.
What inspired you to start Biotech Beauty and how did your STEM background shape the company's vision?
Yeah, so my journey with highly acne prone skin highlighted how makeup often causes more issues than it solves. If it solves, it's a very temporary thing, and then you take it off and you have breakouts for sometimes weeks afterward. So I wanted to change that cycle by creating products that genuinely improve skin health and are clinically backed to do so. So with my background in bio and chem, I approached formulation with scientific rigor rather than just kind of the creative aspects of like, let's make a cool color, let's make a fun texture. So, Biotech Beauty's mission is really simple. It's to create makeup that's both beautiful and clinically proven to benefit the skin. All of our patent pending formulas are rooted in biotechnology using lab grown innovations like vegan collagen and squalane. So, these support our microbiome and strengthen our skin barrier. So, it helps us have an optimal microbiome and promote long term skin resilience.
I'm curious, when you started working on Biotech Beauty, how did you get the research? Did you have to rent out a lab space to do your work, or did you join a lab that was already doing skincare research?
Yeah, so I've partnered with what's called a contract manufacturer, which means you can just rent their space and their resources. So you don't have to
Mhm.
own your own facility, own your own lab, or like your own manufacturing line. You can partner with them to create the product from scratch, and then they will actually run the manufacturing line for you.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Biotech Beauty blends science and biotechnology and beauty, two worlds that are often seen as separate. Why was it important for you to merge?
Yeah, so in the beauty industry, it's traditionally been a prioritization of aesthetics, often at the expense of long term skin health. So, by merging science and biotechnology with beauty, we can reshape this narrative. So, these fields allow us to create products that don't just enhance appearance immediately, but also work synergistically with the skin's biology to improve our health so you look better and feel better long term. We've created acne safe formulas that are clinically shown to be acne safe because for acne prone girlies like us, you might know that a lot of times we see acne safe on the label, but it actually hasn't been substantiated. So we go through really rigorous clinical testing overseen by a dermatologist to show that it doesn't cause breakouts. And what was really exciting about our trials actually was that it showed a reduction in visible clogged pores after using our blush for a month. So I'm really thrilled about that as someone who has such acne prone skin. I'm really just excited to put it on and wear it all day, every day. And yeah, blending these fields reflects the shift in the way that we approach beauty. We value integrity, inclusivity, and progress. So the combination of science and beauty opens up possibilities for creating products that truly care for both the skin and the planet.
Clinical testing and sustainability are big parts of your brand. Can you share why those elements matter so much to you?
Yeah, so coming from a science background, I always felt that claims needed to be substantiated. If you're publishing a journal, you have the research to back up any conclusion you make. So I was shocked to find that when I came into the beauty space, so many marketing claims were either unfounded or had really loose, not so robust substantiation. So from the beginning of designing biotech beauty, transparency and trust were non-negotiable for me. And I knew I wanted to execute clinical trials in order to back up every claim that we made. So, for example, many brands test individual ingredients but not finished formulas, which can lead to issues when ingredients interact or don't perform as expected in real world applications. So, by testing our finished products, we're able to provide the reassurance that what you see is what you get, and we can make sure that if we're claiming it's acne safe or that it's improving the skin barrier or microbiome, these aren't just extrapolated from supplier ingredient claims, but from the actual whole formula itself. Sustainability is just as important. The beauty industry has a significant environmental footprint from the sourcing of raw materials to the waste generated by packaging. So I've always believed that we can celebrate beauty without compromising the health of the planet. So we are intentional with every decision we make, and we prioritize responsibly sourced, lab grown, and renewable ingredients, along with eco friendly packaging. And we're able to create products that align with the values of today's consumers while contributing to a more sustainable future. So, together, clinical testing and sustainability reflect the responsibility I feel towards our customers and the planet. So, they're not just pillars of our brand, but they represent how we can elevate beauty standards and build a foundation of trust and care for the people who use our products.
I love that. I love when companies have sustainability initiatives because I know how important it is to still take care of our planet. What has been your proudest moment so far as both CEO and chief scientist?
Yeah, the happiest moment I felt so far was seeing the results of our clinical trials come in. I remember opening the report. It was like first thing in the morning, opened my eyes, opened my email, and like scrolled through it, looked at all of the conclusions, and I jumped out of bed because I was just so happy, did a little happy dance. And it finally, confirmed everything that we believed, everything that the brand was built upon, that our products deliver real, measurable skin benefits. So, for the past 2 years, it's been research and development and smaller batches of testing in pilot groups, but to have this executed with so many people and to have the statistically significant results come in was incredibly validating. So that I think was really my proudest moment as the chief scientist. I think as CEO, my proudest moments are continually coming in whenever we hear from our consumers. So when someone tells me that our products have changed how they feel about their skin or how they feel about wearing makeup, it's so rewarding. So it's one thing to see clinical results on paper, but it's another to hear someone tell me how they're experiencing these benefits in their everyday life. So yeah, these are really rewarding and they remind me of why I started Biotech Beauty in the first place, to bridge science and beauty in a way that really enriches people's lives. So I'm really proud of what we've built so far.
Love it. How do you stay innovative in a constantly evolving beauty industry?
Yeah, so I like to stay really curious and connected by actively seeking out knowledge and building relationships. The industry has a lot of events that make it really easy to keep up to date with the latest in trends and innovations and network with people. So I like to go to things like Cosmoprof. They have one in Miami and Vegas. I go to Makeup in LA, Makeup in New York, in Cos Global. It's in a different country every year, so it's kind of fun. You get a chance to visit various countries and explore the local market there as well. Yeah, definitely visiting these conventions and conferences helps me keep up to date. But I also like to, because Biotech Beauty is so science backed, I like to make sure that I'm staying up to date with the latest scientific research, specifically in the fields of dermatology and microbiome health, and also listen to what customers are saying, not only about our products, but about competitor products, as well as products that have similar veins but are in different industries. So if we're talking about microbiome health, what are we seeing as trends in food? How are consumers understanding and questioning microbiome health as related to the gut? So just constantly researching, exploring, and being open to learning more so that we can make sure whatever we're creating is meeting the latest consumer need.
Yeah. Can I ask if there other makeup brands that also make makeup based on the microbiome?
No, we are the
Oh, you guys
world's
are the first?
first, yeah, world's first and only microbiome focused makeup brand.
Oh, that's incredible. We'll move on to the advice section now. What would you say to young women who feel intimidated by STEM or they don't see themselves represented?
I would say that you absolutely belong in this space. It's really normal to feel intimidated when you don't see people who look like you, but that's actually why your presence is even more important. Having a seat at the table means your voice and your perspective can open doors for real innovation and authentic representation in product development, marketing, and beyond. So, STEM isn't about fitting into a mold and following a very linear path, it is about curiosity and problem solving. And your unique strengths are exactly what the field needs. So I would suggest to find communities, mentors, and allies who support you. And I think that can make all the difference.
Yes, and that is exactly the reason why I started this podcast to help more women, specifically people of color or Asian AAPI, who feel like there's not representation in STEM. I'm here, Alanna is here, the people on my guests are here to show that there are women in STEM that are doing the things that you wanted to do, and we can help guide the way if you choose to watch the podcast and reach out to us. I
Absolutely.
have to ask, if you could give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Like my younger self, one piece of advice.
Yes.
I think the biggest thing that I would give to my younger self and even to my current self sometimes when I feel overwhelmed or I'm unsure of the path forward is to be patient, trust that the path doesn't have to be linear, and sometimes that's what makes the path that much more exciting. Early in my career, I went straight from undergrad into a full-time job and then balanced grad school while working and studying on the weekends. And that hustle culture mindset felt necessary at the time, but it did lead to exhaustion and burnout. So looking back, I wished I'd given myself the permission to slow down and explore all these different opportunities without feeling like I had to have everything figured out immediately or I had to do it all at the same time so I could know what the end goal was. So, for example, in my early career transitioning from being a cosmetic chemist to then doing product marketing at L'Oreal, it wasn't part of a rigid plan. It was a pivot that allowed me to grow new skills and gain a broader perspective of the beauty industry. And then while building Biotech Beauty, I learned it's okay to make mistakes and change direction because every challenge or setback has been a learning opportunity that pushed me closer to where I want to be or what resonates with consumers. So staying curious and following what truly excites me, whether, in this season of life, it's biotech innovation or sustainability. And in the next season, I'm sure it'll be something else. But staying true to what excites you in that moment has just been the compass that keeps me moving forward. So ultimately, I think patience and self-compassion are key. Your journey won't look like anyone else's, and it shouldn't. Otherwise, it might end up being quite boring and predictable. So embrace the fact that it's going to be nonlinear. It's going to come with a lot of curveballs, but I think that's where the magic happens.
Yes, definitely. I never thought I would be competing in pageants while being a scientist.
It's amazing.
Yeah, life is definitely nonlinear. Can I ask how community or collaboration has played a role in your success and why you think it's important?
Yeah, community has been everything for me in my path from academia to being in the industry and to now creating this company. Whether it's leaning on mentors or colleagues or friends, having people who understand the challenges and celebrate the wins together makes the journey sustainable and joyful. I remember when I first started university, chemistry and biochemistry in particular felt really overwhelming for me. It was really hard for me to grasp. And I'm so grateful for the girls who took the time out of their busy schedules, even though they had research and classes and studying to do, they took the time to patiently explain and re explain concepts to me and share their study tips and cheer me on so that I could succeed alongside them. And so those moments showed me firsthand how powerful it is when women lift each other up. And it creates space for more voices and more ideas and ultimately more innovation. So that's why supporting and empowering other women in STEM is so important to me now. It's also the reason I started the Biotech Beauty Women in STEM Scholarship to give back and create opportunities for young women pursuing science and technology careers. So I want to help build a community that feels more like collaboration because in this field sometimes it can very much feel like there's only room for one female engineer or whatever. And I want aspiring women to feel supported and encouraged and confident to follow their passions without feeling alone or limited.
I saw the scholarship on your website and I was like, wow, that is future goals. Like, I want to set up a scholarship as well. I just need to start a company first or something.
You don't have to start a company. You could just start one right now with your platform, actually.
Yeah, well, I guess it's tough to give out the scholarship fund if I myself are looking for funds.
For
So
funds. No,
it
that's
could be
fair.
in my bag.
That's fair. But it could be
Yeah,
something more like you do fundraising, like with your platform, maybe you do fundraising and there's like maybe commercial companies or private
yeah.
practices who, love this platform that you're creating, and then they can put in funds for a pool that you can then offer as a scholarship. Just an idea.
Yeah. My last question I have for you is what's next for Biotech Beauty and for you personally?
Yeah, so we are focused on expanding our product line and preparing for an exciting retailer launch this year, which I'm so excited and grateful for, all while continuing to innovate with biotech ingredients and clinical validation. Personally, I want to keep growing as both a leader and a scientist, building Biotech Beauty not only as a trusted name in science-backed skin improving makeup, but also as a beacon for young women. So I want them to see that there's so much opportunity in science to create the things you've always dreamed of. It doesn't have to feel limiting or boring. And so there's so much potential ahead, and I'm really excited for the journey.
Thank you so much to Alanna for sharing her journey, her mission, and her powerful work that she's doing through Biotech Beauty. If this episode inspired you, please make sure to follow along with the She Can STEMpire series as we continue spotlighting women who are breaking barriers in science and leadership. You can find clips on Instagram and watch full episodes on YouTube. I'll catch you at the next one. Bye.